hopping off the J train back into Manhattan, back to where the orphan chantry is. Marjorie Keller, also known as Maggie, also known as Neon, sort of walks out with a blank expression on her face, coming up the stairs onto the street level. Part of her noticeably gone. Part of her aching. But also there is some peace there, maybe some closure, as the end of a really long and difficult road is in sight. And the rocky parts of the trail have just been a bit more than this orphan was really prepared to handle. 2 years ago, a part of her was stripped from her, taken in a senseless act of violence. And now, after keeping relationships casual, friendly, first person that she really allowed herself to become romantically involved with has been taken in very much the same way. She makes her way into the hotel, makes her way up the private elevator to the chantry. She goes to the room that she was given access to by Saul, the only other orphan that she really knows outside of Jade. And she goes in. It takes about an hour of just sitting on her bed as she thinks, reflects. The words of Brandy's twin sister Becca definitely hanging, but in many ways not reaching her, not in the way that it should. She takes out her iPod and puts on some music. Music that she hasn't played in over 2 years. An artist named Debussy, Claire de Lune. Song that she can remember many times after parties, raves, concerts. Winding down with Keith nearby while she painted. Song that she couldn't bear to hear after she came out of her coma. She undresses and takes her clothes and folds them up, putting them into the wardrobe, pulling out a silk robe and a nightgown, putting them on. She goes to the small desk and takes a page out of her sketchbook. She pulls an ink pen from the desk itself and begins to write. As she tries to make the first few letters, her hands shake a bit and few tears start rolling down her cheeks. A big breath is taken in and then let out as she begins to write. The pen moves as she speaks softly out loud. That habit of hers when she does write. She begins to write. I found out only a few short hours ago that the woman I was falling in love with is gone. It's the second time now I've felt something inside me break. Everything in me bound up to the point that I lost my breath. How do you quantify into words what it's like to have your world pulled away from you for a second time? I worked hard to try and keep myself from forming those bonds with people. Relationships, casual and friendly, physical. A few that I've had in the few years since Keith died. They've all been really superficial, but no less fun. With Brandy, I opened myself up to that again, compelled to feel that bond, to let someone in and share genuine feelings again. It was wonderful. Every time her hands were in mine, her warmth was intoxicating. It brought a sense of fulfillment, and it really soothed old hurts. And now she's gone, taken away in another bit of this city's senseless violence. As she says this, tear rolls down off her cheek onto the ink. She presses it away, leaving that a bit smeared. Taken away without saying goodbye. All the gifts I have, all the things I've learned. I had hoped that it would help me protect the things I care about. I couldn't save her. I am so sorry, Brandy. Forgive me for what I didn't do, for the things I'm about to do. I'm here again, sitting, thinking, listening to a song. I love this song. It reminds me of you, Keith. I kept from listening to it ever since. I had to get by. You loved classical music as much as you loved metal, like industrial, rock. I can remember so many times after concerts, we'd come home and listen to this song to wind down. Some of the most amazing paintings I ever made were brought to life in those moments. Brandy, Keith, thinking about you now, and it's bittersweet. But this feeling in my chest saps my strength. Body burns and it aches. It's like the sensation of some cruel dance of needles over every inch of my body. And it's all I can do to sit here and write, to give context to all of this. I know whoever reads this, you're going to pass it on. And I know how many of you are going to hurt because of this, and all I can say is that I'm sorry. I'm gonna be selfish. Selfish enough that the pain I'm causing you doesn't outweigh my own. Not enough for me to do what's probably the right thing, to do what others would want from me. I barely managed to get by when Keith died. When I woke up, all I wanted to do was die. And now I have that empty feeling. I can barely feel the connection to my talents. I'm tired, but I'm not sleepy. My stomach hurts, but I'm not hungry. Throat is dry, but I'm not thirsty. I've tried to be strong, but I just can't anymore. I just want to lay down one last time. Listen to sounds of that piano and reflect on the few things that brought me joy over the past few months. And when I close my eyes, just have the solace that I know it's gonna stop. I have to admit that the fear of nothingness scares me. But it's gotta be better than this. She takes a long pause and then finishes with a final paragraph. Tell me when this reaches you. I want you to know that you're the only person right now that I would ask for forgiveness. You've been the best friend I've ever had. And it's been a joy knowing you. And what I'm about to do, the only thing about this action that makes me hurt is what I know it's going to do to you. I want to be able to say goodbye face to face. But I think we know how that would go, how that would end. I just don't have it in me to go through that valley again. I can't bear that a second time. Carry the happy memories, okay? Forget the wrong things that I've done. And keep out the memory. Keep those memories that make you smile when you think about me. Leave out the shitty ones. Mom, Dad, I know You worried about this. But nothing you did put me here. This was a place that I was going to wind up, I think. I love you all. And she finishes, taking a few breaths, tears falling down her cheeks. And she folds the paper into a trifold bit. And she simply writes on the reverse side, to Tommy Lovechild and my friends. She walks over to the bed and takes out her bag. And she places her sketchbook on the bed, her knit cap, sets it down on top of that. She takes off her accoutrement and bracelets. She takes off the stone, the crystal, sets it down on top of that. She takes the letter and places it on top of all these items and wraps the chain of necklace Keith had given her many years ago and wraps it around her fingers. She takes the straight razor and walks into the bathroom and draws a hot bath, listening to the sounds of Debussy playing in the background, smiling a very somber smile before she disrobes and sets herself down into the water.
Here we see, well, one of our characters in her darkest moment, in her darkest state, the most depressed, the most lonesome, the most hopeless. And she goes ahead, takes the razor, her body already being submerged, hair floating quite freely. Maggie, you feel the cut. You hesitate. You make sure to pull it all the way. It flows freely. And your hand just doesn't feel connected anymore. It's not as dexterous as it's supposed to be. But there's another wrist. There's another cut that has to be made. On the other side of the tub, the razor goes ahead and touches that wrist. Small little hesitations. And then one straight, deliberate cut. Again, it all flows freely. You submerge both wrists into the warm water. The pain dulls. You are floating. You are afloat. You stare upwards to, well, you stare upwards. Stare up at the tiling. Stare. Feel colder. Getting colder. Getting more and more further away. Those old aches, those old pains, Debussy going ahead and playing in the background, it all becomes background. Because this is you falling, separating, leaving. Maggie Neon Keller, you are leaving. Vision becomes blacker. Starting to leave. You're starting to look down upon yourself. Is this a near death? Is this an out of body experience? You may have heard about it, may not. You have the feeling of floating just feet above your body. But sooner rather than later, that consciousness blacks out, disappears. What are we thinking as you're fading?
Thoughts go in a million different places. Faces. Tommy. Jericho. Aaron. Logan. Olaf. Malgrim. Tula. Julian. Becca. Brandy.
And
Her
that is a
mother and
face.
father.
Mhm.
And finally, at the end, she thinks about the bedroom that she shared with Keith, a bedroom that she had shared with Brandy. And she thinks about what it's like to lay her head down on those pillows and the scents of those two people thicken her nose.
Hear splashing. You are far away at the moment. You hear splashing. Water. You hear cries. You hear screams. You feel fire. Fire inside you. Fire around you. If you had a soul, it's on fire, Maggie. Where you are, this is not a nice place. This is not a good place. It reminds you of the fire, doesn't it?
What is this?
You hear more yelling, more screaming, incoherent. Can't quite piece it all together. More rushing. You feel wind, but it's like razor blades all over your soul. Wind that whips apart your skin, starting to fillet out, starting to be exposed, Maggie.
This isn't how it's supposed to be.
There's more yelling, more screaming. There is hot iron that is pressed to your chest. There is a pummeling that goes across your head. This is not right. A
This
needle
isn't.
is injected over and over and over again at every single bone, every single vertebrae, every single rib, the sternum. This is not right.
Is this hell?
Above the, not above the screaming, below the screaming, below the yelling, below all that torment, there's just a single voice. Maybe you can hear it. Maybe you can hear the diabolical laughter. Maybe you can see with your mind's eye the grinning bastard as he simply goes ahead and says, "No, hell was never meant for you."
Then what is this?
This is what happens when you want to play between worlds and you don't know what you're doing. Where'd you come from, little girl?
New York.
Good. Where?
Manhattan.
Better. Where?
A hotel.
This one, in your mind's eye, you see the front facade of Seoul's hotel, at least. Answer me, girl.
Who are you?
I am a voice that many hear when they do a very silly thing, like playing with their own lives. I will not give you my name. Names hold power. Call me the voice. Call me Death. That's a bit appropriately intimidating name, isn't it, little girl? At that moment, more fire. It just breathed onto your soul.
Maggie shudders, recoils.
Is that you in the bathtub?
Yes.
Why?
Person that I loved was murdered.
You feel something that is not fire, something that is not razor blades, something that is not thorns, just go ahead and flick into the air just in front of you. Just if you had a face, if your soul had a face, it'd be right in front of you. Delicious. What did you think would happen when you took your own life? What did you want?
Mainly, I wanted the pain to stop.
Has
second
it?
time. Oh, it hasn't. I wanted to be with them again.
With who? And be specific.
These people that I cared for that were taken from me.
Who? Or, no, I won't give you any hits. There is the sound above you, actually. It's more coherent. It's more towards the light. You've heard this voice before, once or twice. It's not an uncommon one, but it's not one that you totally trust. It just simply says, come back, don't. Come back, don't.
I've met a death god before. You don't remind me of him.
And what did he call himself? Has he already laid claim to you?
No, he never
Who?
gave himself a name. He simply was taking people from one side to the other.
Does he operate in this area?
The subways.
Queens, Brooklyn.
Out of character, I don't remember.
Either one would get you the right answer, since it services both boroughs.
Alright. Queens.
Fuck. You notice that, well, you don't really notice, but if you had eyes to see in your mind's eye, you would probably see the smirk go ahead and get ripped away from his face. 3 seconds, bitch. If you had done this 3 fucking seconds earlier, do you know what you're fucking doing to me?
No?
You're killing me, Maggie. Wait, you didn't give your name, excuse me. You're killing me, little girl. You're killing me. As you feel across your form, your soul form at least, your astral body, whatever you want to go ahead and call it, giant talons start to rip you apart. Every single slash, you're killing me, brings about a new deal of pain.
Maggie screams at this pain. Screams at this sensation, this imagery. She knew she wanted to go, but not like this. She wanted peace and tranquility. She wanted to hear the voices of loved ones welcoming her to eternity, to non existence. And as the talons cut into her, she bites her lip, or at least the sensation of that normal gesture that she defaults to comes forth as she draws upon the reflexive sphere of forces. That sensation of drawing on that power. To cast this thing away with holy light. Calling on Prime, or at least the sensations of drawing on these powers.
Your astral body being assaulted by such a demon. A demon from the utter pits of hell. This demon is rebuked by your power. And you hear again from above you. Come back, come. And all at once, you float. You're free. You find yourself groggy. You find yourself unbelievably tired. But you can feel bed sheets. You can feel your head on a pillow, but it's not the pillow that you want. It's not the pillow that would bring you the greatest amount of comfort. It's not the pillow from Keith's bedroom. No, it's actually rather sanitary, rather impersonal. You're incredibly weak at the moment. You haven't opened your eyes yet. You can feel you're wearing something like it crinkles like paper.
Maggie opens her eyes, if she's able.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead and peek. You find yourself, strangely enough, not in a hospital room, but in a hotel room. Not the one that you went ahead and occupied quite earlier, but one identical, quite the same. On the other end of the room, there is there is a man there. He seems to be stumped over a desk. It seems as if he's, well, maybe not so close to death as you, but near tired enough to have gone ahead and exhausted himself.
She just lets out a groan.
The man goes ahead and perks up at this, looks at you. You recognize the face, and I do apologize if this is not necessarily the proper overlay, but is the one that could get a short notice. There, the man you know as Soul looks back at you. Walks over to your bedside. You notice that your hands, at least your arms, are covered in thick wrapping and bandages as he just goes ahead and looks down at you. You awake?
She just lets out a huff.
Mm-hmm. There is a IV bag suspended above your head as Soul just goes ahead and flicks it a few times. Back to the world of living.
Apparently so.
Asking you how you feel, I believe, is a academic point at this moment.
Tired.
Mm-hmm. Why did you do this here?
I don't know.
Looks down at you. His hand is going to go ahead and well, actually, he's not that close to you. He takes your hand, takes it quite clinically, actually, and asks you, could you go ahead and flex your fingers for me?
And she'll attempt to flex.
It's painful. Every
She,
single digit you do is just one more reminder of the damage you just went ahead and caused yourself.
how much strength does she have at the moment?
You have a strength effective of 1.
Not in a sheet sense, just
I understand you have very little strength.
okay.
You can barely lift your arms, and it's painful to move your hands, okay?
She can't really jump up or tense. She just seethes and takes air in through her teeth as she just rolls her head to one side. Oh, that sucks.
Mm-hmm. Goes ahead and walks over to the other side. Tests the other hand. Actually, that hand is a little bit more dexterous. Unfortunately, it might be your left and off hand.
She flexes her fingers.
Less painful.
Should have known you wouldn't let me do that.
What are you talking about? When I got there, you were, well, dead, for all intents and purposes.
She'll open up an eye and raise an eyebrow.
Your spirit had already passed on and left us. I was doing whatever I could to make sure it looked like I was actually doing the wherewithal to save your ass. I don't want people walking in here and think I just let people die. But no, your soul is gone. I don't even know why I'm talking to you right now.
What do you mean it was gone?
I'm saying that the you inside you, your soul, by the time I found you, was clinging by a single thread. A single thread that I saw through various visions. I don't know what in the world tried to grab you as you were falling, and I do not know why that single string kept you so attached, but there's somebody up there that absolutely doesn't want to see you go.
She starts to tear up.
Soul's going to go ahead and, since your left hand is a lot less painful, go ahead and snake his own into it, squeeze it.
It just hurts so bad.
I know. This life's not easy. It's definitely not easy. Um, I kept the stuff that the staff found you in. I placed it in that wardrobe over there. I didn't look at the note. I was going to go ahead and save that one for last.
Burn it, please?
Sure. Definitely. Hold on a second. For a brief moment, he's going to go ahead and let go of your hand. Walk over to the wardrobe that he just went ahead and pointed out. Take that tri-folded letter, the one to Tommy Lovechild. Go ahead and walk back to the bed, and go ahead and position a wastebasket, a metal wastebasket, actually. Go ahead and quite plainly show you him dropping the letter into the wastebasket. Sure.
She'll nod.
All right. He goes ahead and produces a matchbook, a single match, strikes it, drops it, and you can hear the paper burning, curling up. For good measure, Soul goes ahead and takes a scrap piece of paper, lights it, and tucks it into the wastebasket as well, just to make sure there's total coverage.
Do me a favor.
Mm-hmm.
Call somebody on my phone named Julian.
Sure. He's going to go ahead and walk back to the wardrobe, and if Julian's player is still around, you could quite possibly grab him.
Yep.
Go ahead and send him the link then. As Soul goes ahead and returns with the cell phone. He goes ahead and looks at you. I'm only allowing this once. Please don't ever make calls in my chantry without me knowing. And he hands over the... He doesn't hand over the phone quite that much. He can barely hold anything.
I'm guessing that you put it in her hand and it just kind of falls. As she's still
Yep.
in the process of recovering. I don't know how much repair Soul did.
If the player is around.
I sent the player a message. And he's seen the link. He should be dropping by in a second.
Cool.
Oh, God damn it.
No, seriously, don't burn yourself.
Oh, sorry. He's coming.
While we're waiting for him, go ahead and... What is Maggie currently thinking at the moment? Her weakened state.
She's thinking about 3 people. 2 of which she doesn't have around anymore. And how maybe Becca, Brandy's sister, was right. And then she thinks about Tommy.
And as you're starting to think about Tommy, the cell phone goes ahead and it's ringing this other person at the other line. Julian, your phone is ringing.
Yeah. Julian will answer the phone. He's probably still about... He's still a decent way away from home. It hasn't been too long since he and Maggie split off. He'll answer the phone and just be like,
It has been several fucking hours.
several hours? Okay, my
Oh,
bad
yeah.
then. He's probably worried sick then. Because he probably found out that Maggie did not go home like she said. Trickster Trickster Maggie. Julian will answer the phone. He'll just be like, yeah, what's up?
She just kind of looks up at Soul, like, just shakes her head like she can't say anything right now.
Everything all
Goes
right?
ahead and picks the phone up to his own face. Hello, are you a friend of Maggie?
Yeah.
Okay. Covers up the receiver, looks down. You just wanted me to say that you're alright?
I, I don't know. Maybe he can come. I don't know. Guilt at this point is now just kicking her in the proverbial dick.
Right. You want to visit her? You want me to tell him that everything's okay?
Just tell him he can come here if he wants.
He goes ahead and shakes his head. I can transfer you.
Where?
Let's see. It'll take you, well, the morning to go ahead and regain your strength. Afterwards, I can go ahead and transfer you to one of the other hotels in the city, and then you should be able to take visitors.
Tell him I'm okay.
You want to speak to him at all?
She just shakes her head.
All right. Goes ahead and lifts his hand off the receiver. Goes ahead and places the cell phone against his ear. Right. Uh, Apologies. There was an accident. Maggie's all right now, and well, she wants to see you. However, we're not releasing her for a good number of hours, and until tomorrow morning. Okay?
You got it. Just
You
keep her safe, yeah?
Yes, you should be able to visit her at insert address of another hotel here. Room 30, I think. Yeah, 30.
Alright. Beautiful. Julian goes ahead and writes that down. Thanks again, Sir.
Uh,
Or Mr.
Call me Sol.
Soul. Alright. Catch you around then.
Click. Looks back down at Maggie.
I haven't been able to find Tommy. She's not returning any of my calls.
Mm-hmm. You want me to try to get in contact with her?
Please.
Okay. I can definitely do that. Look. You're kind of good right now. You're going to have to recover. But the damage you did to yourself, it might be... Actually, it is very evident. Sorry to say, but I wasn't able to do anything about the scarification. Just want you to know that before you start walking around and talking to people again.
Sometimes we have to live with our mistakes.
Do you think you made a mistake?
Becca was right. They wouldn't have wanted this for me.
And the only way that Soul can actually show you a bit of comfort and humanity, his hand goes ahead and snakes back into your good hand and goes ahead and squeezes and doesn't let go.
I'm sorry.
And there's no need for you to apologize for needing help. There's no need for you to apologize to me or to anybody else. You were in a bad state. Everybody gets sick sometimes.
I don't want to be alone.
Without really letting go of your hand, Soul goes ahead and jury rigs one of the seats actually beside your bed. Goes ahead and sits down, looks at you, and says, "All right then, I won't leave."
Thank you.
Do you want to talk about why, or you just want to talk about bullshit?
I don't want to talk.
You don't have to. I'll talk. If that's okay with you.
She swallows hard and nods.
All right. Soul is going to go ahead and start a little bit of a story himself about his nieces and nephews getting into a whole lot of ruckus trouble. And unless you wish to do anything else, Soul is just going to go ahead and continue this monologue and pretty much tell you a story until you go ahead and fall asleep again.
Yep.
All right, then. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. Here we have seen somebody go ahead and fall, and by luck, by fate, by magic, we have her back. Not a lot of people get a lot of second chances, but here we have the one. Until next time, people, goodbye.